grandmother. I think the spark for many kids to want to become a doctor when they grow up is watching a grandparent get sick or even die. But for me, it was watching my grandma get better. I was just a kid when the doctors sent her home in a wheelchair to die. She'd been diagnosed with end-stage heart disease. She'd already had so many bypass operations, you basically just kind of run out of plumbing. She was confined in a wheelchair, crushing chest pain. Her life was over at age 65. And then she heard about Nathan Pritikin, an early lifestyle medicine pioneer who was reversing heart disease with a plant-based diet back in the 70s. They wheeled her in and she walked out. I'll never forget that. She's actually even featured in Pritikin's biography as kind of one of his star patients. She was described as one of the death's door people. This is a quote from the book. Frances Greger from North Miami, Florida, arrived in Santa Barbara as one of Pritikin's early sessions in a wheelchair. Mrs. Greger had heart disease, angina claudication. Her condition was so bad she could no longer walk without great pain in her chest and legs. Within 3 weeks, though, not only was she out of her wheelchair, she was walking 10 miles a day. My grandma was given her medical death sentence at age 65, but thanks to a healthy plant-based diet and lifestyle, she was able to enjoy another 31 years on this earth. At age 96, with her 6 grandchildren, her near miraculous cure from end-stage terminal heart disease was not only the inspiration for one of those grandkids to go into medical school, but it granted her the years to see him graduate. Let me share with you what's been called the best kept secret in medicine. Given the right conditions, the body can heal itself, like with smoking. And one of the most amazing things I learned in medical school is that within 15 years of stopping smoking, your lung cancer risk approaches that of a lifelong non-smoker. Isn't that amazing? Your lungs can like clean out all that tar, and eventually it's almost as if you never started smoking at all. Sure, you could choose moderation and hit yourself with a smaller hammer, but why beat yourself up at all? During my medical training, I was offered countless perks and dinners by Big Pharma. Not once did I get a call from Big Broccoli. There are reasons we hear about the latest drugs, because there are corporate budgets driving their promotion, but the same reason you'll never see an ad on TV for sweet potatoes is the same reason that these breakthroughs on the power of foods to affect our health and longevity may never get to the public. There's little profit motive. Maybe it won't make people much money, but what if our lives would profit? So I gave up my medical practice, started traveling around the country to speak at each of the 127 medical schools to influence an entire generation of new doctors. I didn't want a single doctor to graduate without this tool in their toolbox. My grandma didn't have to die. Maybe no one's grandma has to die like that. So when I started this work all those years ago, I thought the answer was to train the trainers, educate the profession. But with the democratization of information, doctors no longer have a monopoly as gatekeepers of knowledge about health. When it comes to safe, simple lifestyle prescriptions, I'm realizing it's more effective to just empower people directly, like this film is doing. Then together, we can show my medical colleagues the true power of healthy living. In years past, the truth could be suppressed by industry and those in government that work for them. While they're still trying to suppress the science, it's becoming more difficult. The rise of internet and social media makes this information easier to find, easier to share. And that's why we are now at a tipping point for evidence-based nutrition, a whole food, plant-based diet. diet ever proven to reverse heart disease in the majority of patients is a diet centered around whole plant foods. You know, anytime anyone wants to sell you on a new diet, do me a favor, ask them a simple question. Has this diet been proven to reverse heart disease? You know, the number one reason you and everyone you love will die. If the answer is no, then why would you even consider it? Right? If that's all a plant-based diet could do, reverse our number one killer, then shouldn't that be the default diet until proven otherwise? And the fact that it can also prevent, treat, and arrest other leading killers like type 2 diabetes and hypertension would seem to make the case overwhelming. In other words, a long and healthy life is largely a matter of choice. You know, Dr. Kim Williams this year became the president of the American College of Cardiology. He was asked why he himself chooses to eat a strict plant-based diet. "I don't mind dying," Dr. Williams replied. "I just don't want it to be my fault." Allow me to introduce my good friend, Dr. Colin Campbell, nutrition researcher recognized for his many years validating the science of whole food plant-based nutrition. He's authored more than 300 research papers, career spanning more than half a century, author of the best-selling book China Study, featured in the documentary film Forks Over Knives, currently holds an endowed professor emeritus position at my alma mater, Cornell University, Dr. T. Colin Campbell.